warships have made their debut, completing the air, land, and sea battle formula. Choose the iconic vehicles, or the unusual ones. They all have a role to play.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it's time to talk about a part of War Thunder that I don't think is discussed enough, and I hope over the next maybe few months, next year or so, we see a lot more discussion about it. So today it's time to talk about the Xbox side of War Thunder. It's recently been released, of October 2018, so it's going on to around about half a year of being officially released as a free-to-play game on the Xbox, and I was hit up by a guy called Mouse. Now, Mouse is one of the heads over at a Discord called War Thunder HQ. Now, this place is a Discord which is completely designed around the Xbox side of War Thunder. So if you want to be involved in an Xbox side, community when it comes to War Thunder, I'm going to leave a link in the comment section and also a description to this Discord so you can join it yourself. One of the things that is already an issue when it comes to Xbox is obviously you have inbuilt in Xbox a way to group people together. You can invite people to groups, they can chat there, but the issue is there isn't a lot of tools in those groups to be able to try and get people's opinions across or trying to get people talking. So what these guys are trying to do, because they also run the largest group when it comes to Xbox, which has over 5,000 members in it, which is insane when we're talking about a community which is just designed to communicate. They're trying to push people towards stuff like this Discord, so it's much easier to talk and it's much easier to be able to relay issues to them and others, so maybe they can get some of the issues solved that many people have. Now, this video here is not just, telling you to go and to this Discord if you are part of the Xbox community, or even if you want to just talk to guys in the Xbox community, talk about their issues, maybe, how to fix them, or, maybe talk about deals or stuff that you see on the Microsoft Store, anything like that. It's not just that, but it's also going to go over the issues that have been raised to me personally by the group of these guys. I've chatted with them for approximately 4 to 5 hours in 2 different sessions, and to be honest, they brought up a lot of stuff which I had absolutely no idea about. By the way, the gameplay in the background that you see is me playing on PC in user missions using a gamepad, so enjoy watching me fail using a controller. I kind of got the hand of it by the end of the the end of the thing. But anyway, we sat there for a while just discussing different issues that the Xbox community definitely has compared to PC and compared to PS4 in the light of trying to get a message out there which would try and fix these issues, or at least bring them to the public attention so people understand that they exist. Because one of the biggest problems when it comes to a massive community, whether it be the PlayStation part, the PC part, or the Xbox part, sometimes, especially with the issues between crossplay, it's sometimes hard to get conversations going between the different sides. So that is what I've been trying to do, and hopefully in the future we can have more conversations to try and deal with some of the issues that has arisen from this. Another thing as well when it comes to the Xbox thing is I've actually talked to a few people who are now let's just say, they're in the know about these things, and the main issue that is constantly brought up to me is the fact that the game is, still quite young on Xbox, and also the crossplay issues are the main reason behind a lot of the problems that the Xbox community is facing. Now, if you don't know, Sony has a policy where they do not allow Xbox games or Microsoft games to be cross-played onto PS4s. This has been something which has happened for a very long time, and there is only a few cases of games which are actually cross-played on both platforms, and this is Fortnite and also Rocket League. Both of these are owned by Epic Games, and it isn't a surprise that they are two of the largest multiplayer games, so therefore they've got their own separate deal. What I would like to see in the future, and also if you look at the War Thunder Twitter account, the official verified one, they've also made tweets pushing towards the idea that they would like cross-platform stuff going as well. It is only in Gaijin's interests to promote everybody playing by the same rules. It makes it easier on their end, it makes it easier on everyone else's end, and it means that you don't have to have two separate matchmaking systems, and it means that you don't have to limit one side compared to the other, because if you start doing that, obviously you have a few issues which we're running into right now with regards to stuff like the Xbox not having access to World War mode or not having access to Simulator. Mainly it seems down to the matchmaking circumstances of PlayStation 4 and Xbox players not being able to play together. So the thing I want to iterate is a lot of these issues that are brought up, especially when it comes to the performance stuff, I am sure, or at least I've talked to people who said a lot of these will be fixed in time. A lot of these will be, the actual client itself will be optimized, therefore it will be better for the Xbox players. On top of this, all of the matchmaking issues and multiplayer issues are strictly a cross-platform problem, right? And therefore, if that can be solved, then it solves the majority of issues that the Xbox players have right now. And the thing is, this isn't on Gaijin's end. I know a lot of people like to blame Gaijin for this, but that just isn't true. Gaijin, as I said publicly in the past many times, the most obvious one is on the Twitter account, where they have basically said to Sony, why are we not allowed to cross-play? Why is it rules for thee but none for rules for me but none for thee? Why is it different for a game like Fortnite compared to War Thunder? And it's definitely a valid point, So, as I said, understand that it would be much better to petition either Microsoft or especially Sony about these issues than Gaijin, because Gaijin are on the same page. They want everyone to play together. It would just make a lot of stuff easier. So, let's get into some of the issues that the Xbox has compared to PC and also compared to PlayStation. So the first one is, obviously, as an Xbox user, you cannot access the Gaijin store for PC. This means that you don't get access to all of the bundles which go on offer in certain time periods. It means that you get access to different offers, so everything is not unifying. It also means that you have to go directly through the Microsoft Store, and something that was brought up to me was the fact that obviously because Xbox is still in the dark age when it comes to selling things, or I should say Microsoft, a lot of the codes and stuff are region locked. So even stuff like giveaways and doing gifts to people can be an absolute pain because of the fact that a lot of stuff is region locked. Like the fact that I am in Canada means that if I have a mate, let's say in Eastern Europe, and I want to give him some GE through the Microsoft Store, I can't do that because it's region locked. How crazy is that, And obviously VPNs exist, but you've got to register your account in a region. So you have to make sure that all your mates are from one region, or some people are going to miss out if you want to gift them stuff. So this makes giveaways and gifts and all of that just an absolute pain on Xbox. Another thing is the fact that the Microsoft Store does not have access to the content creator discount stuff. So if you didn't know, if you look at people like Fly Daily, Mike Goes Boom, Dita, they all have promotional codes for the Gaijin store. Now, what this means is, I believe you get a 3% discount with the purchase that you make, and you also get a decal with, you know, the decal of the creator that they've created along with the deal. So it basically is a code which is an affiliate link. Apart from you get a little bit out of it, and I'm sure the creator gets a little bit out of it as well. This doesn't exist on Microsoft, so all of those deals done by content creators with Gaijin just don't exist on the Microsoft Store. Now, it has been said by a store team employee, Grov, that eventually Xbox users will be able to use the Gaijin Store to purchase GE. So that is something that will eventually come. And this is something that Sony guys cannot do, because obviously this is an issue that affects Sony as well. But a lot of the Xbox guys that I talked to, they talked about this idea of Elite Dangerous. Now, Elite Dangerous has a system on Xbox which ties in a separate currency compared to the rest of the system. So you buy the currency on the Microsoft Store or whatever it is, and then you can purchase stuff in the Elite Dangerous shop with said currency. Now, what they want is a system like this for War Thunder, and I think it would work pretty well. You know, it's you could just do it for GE or something like that, or even Gaijin Coin if you wanted to try and keep it to what it was. The next point is they don't have access to World War Mode. Now, for me, one of the big promotional things, or one of the big changes over the last, this year, is the addition of World War Mode. It is a massive mode which has been implemented. You know, they talk about developing it for 5 years, and you know, I'm not a developer, so I'm not going to talk about how much development has gone into it or how much time has gone into it, but you have pretty much set up a completely different system of matchmaking, completely different sets of operations. You know, you've got the whole RTS mode going on as well. There's a lot of moving parts to World War Mode, which is nothing like the rest of War Thunder. And it is an insanely cool thing, at least to me, and also a way that you can get some really cool prizes. Well, guess what? Xbox doesn't have access to it. They don't get World War Mode. So one of the largest events of 2019 for War Thunder so far, Xbox users just don't get a hold of. Now, this has been stipulated that it's because of the cross-play issue. There's also the fact that, the PlayStation version of War Thunder has been out for about 4 years, going on 5 years now, and the Xbox version is incredibly young, as I said, since October 2018, so eventually it'll get up to the same level as, the PlayStation 1, but still, when you have a flagship, mode that you're trying to sell to people, and you don't let them have access to it, it obviously isn't good. But once again, if it's down to the crossplay thing, then it's not on Gaijin, it's literally on Sony. So go and badger Sony. The other one is simulator mode. So, Xbox players do not have access to simulator mode. This to me kind of blew my mind, right? Because the World War Mode stuff I can kind of understand since it's very new. Maybe they're running into a few issues when it comes to the technology aspect, or maybe they are close to dealing with the crossplay thing, so that would be solved. But simulator mode is one of the 3 core game modes in War Thunder, and yes, it is the least populated one, it is the least played one, but it doesn't exist for the Xbox. That's insane to me, completely insane. So they don't have access to stuff such as, just general simulator mode things. Crazy. And then the next one is even crazier to me. Xbox players cannot join squadrons. They also can't create squadrons. So you can't join, let's say, a PC-dominated squadron. You cannot join any squadron, and you can't create a squadron either. So even if you wanted an exclusive Xbox squadron for only Xbox players, you're not going to add any Sony guys, you're not going to add any PC guys. Just make it so If you create a squadron as an Xbox player, you can only add other Xbox players. That's just not there. You don't have access to squadrons, for Xbox. Therefore, you're not going to have access to squadron vehicles when they come out. You don't have access to squadron battles. You don't have access, once again, to World War mode, which you didn't have access to anyway. All of the benefits of squadrons, the activity idea, and also some of the perks that you get from being in a squadron, you just don't have. So that doesn't exist. That whole part of the game does not exist for Xbox players. Insanity, isn't it? How crazy is that? And then another thing, obviously, because they don't have access to the Gaijin market, the one where you use Gaijin coin to be able to either trade, not trade, but you're able to sell and buy things on it, whether it be decals, camouflages, boxes, vehicles, anything like that. Xbox obviously has no way of accessing that as an individual account holder. But at the same time, they still get boxes in battles and they still have to buy keys. Now, the way it works for Xbox people is the same way it works in a lot of games like Killing Floor, where if you get a bunch of common, let's say, skins, you can trade a bunch of them in for one rare. And if you have a bunch of rare skins, then you can trade them in for an epic. You know how it is. You know how all of these things go. So the main thing is they have that kind of trade-up system, but obviously it's massively beneficial to Gaijin and not so beneficial to the general player, whereas having access to the Gaijin market would be a hell of a lot nicer for them. But there is no trade system to other individuals. So let's say you have a mate, you open a box and you get a skin that you don't like, but you can't give it to a mate. There's no way of trading it. Now, obviously, since this system is independent from the Gaijin market, a system for trading would not nuke the costs of stuff on the Gaijin market. So you don't have to worry about that stuff. But also, there is no way of, changing it into a redeem code or anything like that to gift it to people. None of this stuff exists in the world of Xbox, and obviously, as I said, it doesn't really exist in the world of PC because of the market, but Xbox doesn't have access to the market, so you could easily put in this system. Then you have the star and cross system. So this is interesting. You know how on PC you see a star or a cross on a person's name? So you know if they're an Xbox or a PS4 player, or a PlayStation player, I should say. That doesn't exist on Xbox. So you can't tell who is a PC player and who is an Xbox player in a match. Now, this, you could make an argument that this is for fairness, that this is for treating everybody equally, but if I know that I'm facing a PlayStation player or an Xbox player, I am going to take that deal a little bit differently compared to against a PC player. Because I'm wondering, do they have as much experience with the game since the game hasn't been out as long? Are they using a controller, of course? Maybe they're using a joystick, or maybe they're using, a mouse and keyboard. Because one, good thing about the Xbox side and the Sony side, they both have access to mouse and keyboard. So when people think, oh, how are they doing this with a controller? Well, they're not. They have a mouse and keyboard. But the main thing is, there is no star and cross system, so you can't find other Xbox players in the game. You can't find out how to talk to them. The only way you can really do it is, I believe on Xbox you can put spaces in your name, or something to the similar effect, or there's some way of working out if a name is slightly different to a PC name, and I think it's to do with spacing or something like that. So therefore you can in some instances work out who Xbox players are, but it is a very small instance. So it would be nice if they had this star and cross system so they could find other Xbox players in the game. Because one of the big things, of course, that keeps games like War Thunder alive is the community aspect. So if you take away the community aspect, which is not being able to find people in said community, then you're going to have issues. Now, luckily, as I said, the guys over at War Thunder HQ, where I've put a pinned comment with the Discord link so you can go and check it out, they have been able to create a group around, the idea of Xbox players, and therefore it can be done where you get a bunch of people together to to play the game together. But in game, it would be nice to be able to talk to people who are having similar experiences to you, so you can discuss them. And there's no way of doing that in game. There's no way of distinguishing between PC players and Xbox players. Then there is an issue called processing operation. Now, when the guys were talking about this, it got kind of, a lot of them were laughing, a lot of them were joking, because it seems to be the main issue when it comes to loading. So processing operation pretty much means that whenever your game is trying to load something or it's freezing, it just says processing operation across the middle of the thing. So this was an issue for freezes, loading issues for stuff such as daily loggings, and also looking through hangers and stuff like that. Now, once again, since it's an optimization thing, this will just get better with time, just like it did for PC, just like it did for PlayStation. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but there are a lot of examples that I was given where you would come around a corner with a tank and you would get a freeze of 2 to 5 seconds, and therefore you weren't able to get the first shot off when you thought you were doing well. So you would come around a corner, you were about to shoot, freeze for 5 seconds, and then die, and then in that time period where you're frozen, and then you would reappear dead. And obviously this isn't a great feeling, and it's something that I experienced on my low-end laptop when I started playing Ground Forces. So for me, I'm guessing it's just an optimization thing, and it will be fixed in the future. Obviously, without squadrons, there are no squadron battles, there are no user missions either. And this is something that, once again, did blow my mind. Obviously, user missions, you can bring them in, you can copy them to a clipboard, or, whatever you want to call it, and bring them in so you can get other PC players to play maps alongside you. You can't do this if you're an Xbox player. You can't start a user mission, and you can't join a user mission either. So this is something that I need to personally take into account when we do custom battles in the future, because I don't want to be discriminatory or prejudicial by accident when dealing with Xbox players. Because obviously, you don't want to, discriminate against a part of the community, but now I have this knowledge, it's really sad about the fact that, they can't access user missions. And then on top of this, PC players cannot invite people to custom or user mission battles. Right? So PC players, if you set up a custom battle, Xbox players can't join it. And we tried this. So I squadded up with a few of them, I started a custom battle, and when I went into the custom battle, it said, these people in your squad cannot join this custom battle. And I was like, why? Why is this a feature? Why is this something which is here? So even then, even without the issues with cross-platform between Sony and Microsoft, you still have this added-on issue where, as a PC player, you can't invite Xbox players into, custom battles. So hopefully that gets fixed. There's obviously no replays. They do have an Xbox record system, which, to be honest, I don't know how it fully works, but it seems like it is incredibly similar to how the Nvidia one works, where it captures, 5 or 10 seconds before or after an event happens, maybe a little bit longer than that. And obviously they do have access to streaming platforms such as Mixer, so they can, they are able to stream, but the issue is there are no replays. And sometimes, you want to have a look at replays. And yes, if you go on a PC and you look at server replays, you can look at the replays that you were in, but it's not like the PC client where it's just there, on the client. And it would be much better if it was there on the client instead of having to use a third-party idea or a third-party place to get access to your own replays. Obviously, no access to tournaments such as the War Thunder League, which is going on right now. So, and I think that's just because it's run through War Thunder TSS, which is a separate client compared to, you know, the actual clients of War Thunder. But yeah, so Xbox players don't get access to tournaments, so if you want to be let's say, part of the competitive scene at all in War Thunder, you cannot if you're on Xbox. It's as simple as that. You don't get access to squadron battles, you don't get access to World War mode, you don't get access to tournaments. You just up shit's creek without a paddle. Then, the next one, there's no looking around with a controller while controlling the aircraft. And this is something that I personally found. One of the things that I do a lot in Aerialistic is I hold C while using keyboard controls to be able to, you know, maneuver my aircraft, but also keep eyes on a target. Now, what Xbox has is it has like a button which tracks a target, but you can't freely look around on Xbox. Instead, you are just stuck looking where your flight indicator is looking. So it would be nice if there was some way of making it so you could have a look around your aircraft instead of following a designated path. Instead of just being able to just look straight ahead, and also when you've targeted an enemy, be able to look at them. It would be nice if you were able to have a free, you know, looking around camera, a 360 camera like we have on PC. And also, the PvE game modes, people are loading in late, normally after the first wave of aircraft has already gone. So this is just kind of crazy to me, but it goes back to the optimization thing. If you're loading in, like we're talking about like 2 or 3 minutes after the start of a PvE game, at that point, that's crazy. You know, that's an incredibly long period of time where you kind of just sat there waiting for something to happen. So hopefully, even though that's a minor thing, it would be nice to get fixed. And the whole point of this video is, as I said, to make sure that you know that there is an Xbox community out there, that they are trying to communicate and, you know, have a chat with people, and you can find links to them, as I said, in the pinned comments of this video and also the description. On top of this as well, there are a lot of issues that Xbox has that PC doesn't, and I'm sure there are many things that PlayStations don't have that PC does. And what we have to understand is we have to be sympathetic towards these ideas, everybody how it is much better as a whole community if everybody gets access to everything. Therefore, we all benefit because we get more players playing, you know, with and against each other. We get more communication. We get more things going on, which is a hell of a lot more fun than having these divided communities. The reason why Fortnite and Rocket League were able to get their status as a cross-platform game was because of community reaction, and I'm sure because of different deals done with the companies. But the main reason why Fortnite became proper job cross-platform across everything was because of community reaction. So hopefully, with this and with many others that we can see, you know, going into the future, hopefully we can set up a way of getting this game cross-platform across all 3 platforms. So therefore, we have a united player base instead of one, which right now is splintered, but not because of the players, because of the companies behind them. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank B. Young, Blackie, Daniel Stanton, John Reinman, Leonard Rudnick, Martinez, Matati, Moxie, Nick Graham, Alobrilo, Super Cacti, Elove Goats, and Seductive Trashcan for supporting the channel.